welcome back to my travel vlog. So this vlog is basically me going to Paris and London. This was my first time flying into Paris and actually exploring the city, so I was super excited, had a lot of things planned. By the time I arrived in Paris, it was the evening, so I only had the night to go out and explore. We checked into our Airbnb, quickly freshened up, and headed out to go and see the Eiffel Tower at night. So the tower sparkles right at 9 o'clock for 5 minutes, 10 o'clock for 5 minutes, 11 for 5 minutes, and I believe 12 for 5 minutes. So we did wait around to see it sparkle, and it was absolutely beautiful. No trip to Paris is complete without some crepes right under the Eiffel Tower. The next morning we got ready and headed out straight into the city for a whole day of exploring. We went back to the Eiffel Tower to see it during the day. We couldn't get admission into the tower, so we just ended up looking at it from the ground. And then we walked straight over to go visit the museum. We walked over to Le Louvre, or the Louvre Museum, to go and see the Mona Lisa and some other exhibits. This museum is by far the most beautiful museums I've ever visited in my entire life. The statues, the architecture, the paintings, and just the way the whole museum was built was absolutely beautiful. We walked straight in search of the Mona Lisa, and it was right there, a little underwhelming, a very tiny picture, but still it was really nice seeing it in person. And everywhere in the museum you got to see all these beautiful mural and works of art on the ceilings, which was so gorgeous. After we finished with the museum, we went over to visit the Notre Dame Cathedral, which unfortunately is still closed and under construction. They are supposed to open up at the end of 2024. We then took an Uber over to go to our cruise, which was so beautiful. We were on the river Seine, I believe it's called, and it basically took us through all the important monuments of the city. We were on it from day to dusk, so we pretty much saw the city just going into the dark with the sun setting and the lights all turning on. We also saw the Eiffel Tower turn back on. It was just absolutely stunning and definitely worth visiting if you are in Paris as a touristy attraction. The next morning, we started off our morning with a breakfast at the boulangerie, or the bakery, right near our Airbnb, and we headed into the city with public transport. We really wanted to experience how it was, and it was actually very cool. It was very easy to maneuver through the city and find your way into directly the city without having to take any buses. We walked over to Cedric Gourlet because we wanted to get his infamous pastries. It was a wait. We did wait about an hour and a half. When we got in, we were pretty much introduced to everything they had on the menu for the day and given the options to choose from. We ended up choosing 2 pastries because they were very expensive, and this was our first time trying it, so we weren't aware of how great it would taste. Considering the wait time and the overall experience, as well as the price point and the taste of it, we would give it about a 7 out of 10, so it's worth experiencing. We then headed over to Poland because I've been eyeing a bag and I wanted to get it straight from the first flagship store in Paris. I just didn't know which bag I wanted, but I ended up choosing a numero 10, and then I had to go through all the colors that they had, and I did end up choosing a very pretty taupe color and walked out with my purchase. It was definitely worth the experience. You can also get your tax refund at the airport, so it does work out cheaper to buy it straight from Paris. I waited about an hour to get into the store, and then I spent about 30 minutes choosing my bag, but the overall experience was absolutely beautiful. Like, I loved choosing my bag and I loved shopping there. We then headed over to the Sacred Heart Basilica. This was the only basilica open at the time in the city. It was really pretty. It was very touristy. There was a lot of tourists around, and it was a super hot day as well. You do need to climb all those stairs to get to the top of the mountain to access the church, but it was definitely worth it. Paris was just about 3 days, so it was a pretty quick trip, but it was definitely very enjoyable. I will definitely be back in Paris, but just not during summer again, maybe during fall or winter, and experience it a little bit more. I then headed straight into the UK, which I didn't really vlog too much, but I was there for about 7 days. This was the first day we just literally explored around near home, and then the second day we headed into London. We drove in at around night and went straight to our Airbnb, checked in, and decided to go to Chinatown to get some dinner. Restaurant called Plum Valley, which was pretty highly rated on Google, but unfortunately it wasn't so great for us. It was a good place to get a quick eat, but not so much of an actual meal. I would rate it about a 5 out of 10. After dinner, we walked down the street to Maître Shoe and got some shoe pastries, which were absolutely divine. Totally recommend it. They are a bit pricey, but it was worth it. We walked around Leicester Square for a bit and then headed straight back into our Airbnb. The next morning we set out straight into the city. We wanted to explore London a bit more, so we took the tube all the way down to Oxford Circus. There was this brunch spot that I've been wanting to go to, so we went straight there for breakfast. This is brunch on Oxford Circus. It is known to have vegan specialties, and I went for a vegan English breakfast, which was so good, so it's definitely worth the visit if you're in around the area. We walked around the city a bit more and popped into some stores to do a quick bit of shopping, and then headed straight to Bond Street because I really wanted to go visit Ralph Lauren. This was the home section of the Ralph Lauren store, and it was so beautiful. It was very antique. They had a lot of historical pieces, which was so nice. Very expensive, but very nice. And then we headed straight to Bicester Village to do some more shopping. This is a designer outlet, and it's totally worth a visit. You'll find some good deals here if you're looking into getting some designer pieces. For dinner, we stopped at Sacconi's, which was our first time there. The food was really good. The food was definitely worth it and worth the hype that they always have. The next day, we were back in Nottingham. We went into 200 Degree Coffee to grab some breakfast. The coffee is always so good, and then headed out straight to our day. I didn't really vlog much of the day, so we headed into the next day, where I went into Derby, which was a different city. This is the place that I always get my coffee at. It is Bear Coffee. We then headed into the Primark down the street and did some shopping, and then went straight to the mall and did a bit more shopping, looked into some different stores. I went into this home store, which was really cool. Everything was so beautiful in there. Very expensive, but definitely beautiful. And the next day was the last day in the UK for me. We just headed out, met up with some family, had a great dinner, and pretty much concluded my trip there. And this was the morning of me departing off back to Toronto. We did stop at Costa to get me a coffee, and headed straight to the airport. This was just a quick 11-day trip for me, but it was definitely so much fun. I did a lot, I explored a lot, and it was great visiting Paris for the first time as well.